Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Oops. Nope. I want to go back.
You talking to me?
Uh, where is my? Mhm.
Hi, Frank.
thank you all for attending. This is one of my favorite meetings of the year, where we get to interview prospective student members in the governance committee. I want to call the committee to order at 4:04. Cynthia, is there any public comment submitted?
No public comment. And I just wanted to mention, I'm getting some feedback a little bit, so I don't know if if people can mute when they're not speaking. That would be great.
Sounds good. No public comment. I'll move to approve the minutes from the last meetings. Everyone had a chance to review those. Yes, Betsy?
Move to approve the minutes.
You?
I'll
Second?
second. Steve Bacon.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Well, moving on our agenda, we have interviews for prospective students. We have some outline in your packet has the different questions. I propose that we just go through these in order. Actually, first, can somebody serve as sort of like a timekeeper? Because these go really fast, and with it being virtual, I'll sort of keep track of the time and try to cut it off right in this first one, give them each 15-minute block, but I need sort of a backup. I know, Prabhas, can I look to you to sort of keep track of time too? That'd be helpful, thank you. And just, you feel free to just jump right in and cut us off if we're, because I want to make sure that we have time, a little buffer in between. And Cynthia, you're good with, as people come in, are they going to go into a waiting room or something? How do you do that shuffle of candidates?
So I have to let them in so I can monitor and just leave people in a waiting room.
Okay, perfect. We've got 6 questions, so I think we can probably just assign them. Prabhas, you had provided a question about managing time. Is that the one, number 6? Can you ask that one?
Yes.
Does anybody else have a question that they had submitted or they feel that they would like to ask? I could just go around and make assignments here. Betsy? You're on mute, Betsy, but you held up 2 fingers. Does that mean number 2?
Number 2.
All right, Betsy's got number 2.
Thank you.
Steve, number 5. Sean, Diana, 1, 3, or 4. Number
Ladies
1
first.
for Diana.
Happy to go for whichever you want. I can take that.
Sean,
I'm just bringing it up, Frank.
Yeah. if there's
number
one you
3.
prefer.
That's fine.
The 4th one I could ask. I'm just thinking of time wise. It already we're down to 3 minutes per question. And I think actually of the ones I like Prabhas, the one that you added, so I'd prefer you to go. How about, can we just do the same order? We're going to exclude 4. If we have enough time at the end, I'll ask 4 as the wrap up, okay?
Okay.
So it's going to go, I'll just welcome the candidate to our meeting. I'll ask Diana to start, and maybe when we start, if you just introduce yourself quickly, and if you are, how your role on this committee, right? So as a emeritus member of the board, we have.
Is that what I am?
Yes, you and
Okay.
Steve, and Diana are the three are emeritus members.
Okay,
John and I are appointed by the university, and Prabhas is the outgoing student rep. Cynthia, I want you to have a role too in this, but you've already, yeah, you've already had interactions with these students. Were you the one that was coordinating them? So-
Yes.
So they know you as the executive director.
Yes.
Great. Steve?
My question won't take long. So, Prabhas, you won't need to give me 3 minutes. That might help you, Frank, ask question number 4.
question, Steve, which question is yours?
Number 5.
Thank you.
So Frank, how should I give you this time buffer? Do we want a buffer of time at the end, like 3 or 4 minutes before? So we have 4:15 to 4:35. Do you want the
Well,
questions to go?
you know, it would be helpful as we're approaching the end point, because you and I are the last 2 questions then. Probably the easiest way to do it is to say, with 3 minutes remaining. So from 4:15 to 4:30, so at like 4:27 or something, just give me a signal that we only have 3 minutes, and I'll try to wrap that up. And if I start going beyond because I'm asking the question, just feel free to jump in and say that we're done. I think it should be fine. I just want to give everybody the same amount of time. And with interviews, some can really roll with 1 question, and somehow also want to help monitor the responsiveness. So if a question is answered and it takes 4 or 5 minutes, you may want to keep them on pace so that we can get through all of them.
And who's doing question 1
Diana,
and you're doing 4?
I'm doing 4 at the very end, if we
Okay,
have time.
okay, thank you. I'm just trying to make notes so I keep myself straight.
Does that sound all right, Cynthia, to you? You and Steve have run these in the past. Anything else? We haven't done it remotely, though.
No. That's always interesting. I did hear from one of the 3 confirming before I left on vacation. So, but I sent the emails out, before I left. So,
Well, thank you. It was actually it was a good pool. They're familiar. Are they briefed on what this process is like, that they're going to be meeting with members of the board and former members of the board?
I think so. I'm not sure how much detail I gave them,
Okay, maybe I'll just give it.
but they know it's a committee, that they're meeting with a committee.
I'm sorry, how much time do they have, each of them?
15 minutes.
15 minutes? And our intent is to ask all 6 questions?
And try.
Do you want to, since 3, 4, 5, and 6 were posed as additional questions, do we want to be a little more random with that, or have a time check at like 10 minutes to see where we're at?
Hmm.
We're kind of depending on Prabhas to be the timekeeper.
Yeah.
You got a gavel, Prabhas?
Not with me.
All right, well, use a baseball bat then.
I think if we can go through the first 3 at least, Diana, Betsy, and Sean, right? And then, like Steve says, Steve's is pretty quick. It's more of just their availability. I really like Prabhas's question about time management, because that's one of the biggest issues that students, especially volunteers, have.
We could do a time check, let's see how long it takes to get to Steve's question. Because questions 1, 2, and 3, I think, are very important. Steve's question is a yes or no question. And then, if we only have a few minutes left, we can just do the time management question and then wrap up. If they've
I
gone
think
way
that-
over, we can wrap up after Steve's question.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think we'll
I will-
probably end up wrapping up then.
And Frank, we don't say anything more about ourselves other than I'm a board member emeritus, right?
Think so. I don't think we
Because
have
it's too
time.
short. Yeah, that's
just
what I
wanna try
thought.
to keep it as, get right into I want to hear more from them, right? And we
Yes.
could always, if they have questions, they can always follow up.
Yep, thank you.
So Frank, we don't have our person signing on yet. Do you want Kathleen to call people if they're not here within a couple of minutes? Or do we let it go?
God.
At that point, it's hard for them. If you're not ready to go right from you're eating into your own time, because we can't, we can't hesitate. We have to, sadly, that's how it is. We reviewed all the applications and resumes that were submitted, and surveyed everyone here and picked the ones that we felt were most likely to sort of rose to the top. And we tried our best. I think the staff tried their best to get people to sign up for this time. There were 2 others that were very strong that could have gone in this time slot too. And we may want to consider another date. Do we have another date, Cynthia, to play with if we needed to interview 1 or 2 more? I guess it sort of depended upon how today went. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we did hear back from Rachel and another person, so I can send him a quick email right now just to check in.
Sure. Prabhas, how are you doing with time management as we wrap things up?
I am doing well. A lot of exciting updates, or just a lot of things happening all at once. It feels like these last couple of weeks, and it's my last week of class, and then 1 exam next week, and then graduation 2 weeks from yesterday. So it is everything is happening at once, it feels like, but it's all right. Head above water, and I feel good.
Boss, I cannot believe it.
Mhm.
I remember when you were just heading in.
Yeah.
Family must be very proud of you.
They are. I actually found out on Friday after applying for it that I will be able to give the commencement speech at my ceremony on Sunday. So very
Wow.
very happy about that update. So it's just I'm still processing all of it, but feels good.
You were just a little kid when I first knew you.
Yes. Somewhat still am, but just a little bit older.
Don't lose that.
I won't.
Okay.
Don't forget us.
Sorry, Frank.
No, that's all right.
Didn't you give the speech at your high school graduation?
Yes, and then right after I gave that one, I said in 4 years I have another one to give. I want to see, in my head, I told myself that I wanted to see if it would be possible, and then became possible. So now if I ever do my master's, I'll know what what other things to prepare for. But yeah, it happened very quickly. I had to apply about 2 weeks ago with the video.
I'm gonna
and,
cut you off. I'm gonna cut you off, Prabhas, because Elliot's signed in.
That's better
I'm
news. That's
sorry.
better news.
I'm
That's
sorry
fine.
about that. Everybody ready? Okay.
Hello, I'm so sorry. I just got back from a class.
Welcome, Elliot. Hi, I'm Frank Gifford. I'm Chair of
Hello.
the Governance Committee of the Mansfield Downtown Partnership. And you're joining us for the interview. You submitted an application for the student representative position on the board. And we're going to jump right into it. I hope you don't mind. We're going to start going through some questions, and because we only have about 10 minutes of a quick interview here, if that's all right.
Oh.
I'm going to turn it over to Diana, who will ask the first question.
Hi, Elliot. I'm Diana Peltier. I'm an emeritus board member. That's how I sit on the governance committee. What characteristics, skills, and experience would you contribute to the Mansfield Downtown Partnership Board?
Personally, I have been working in the downtown Mansfield area. I work at the Starbucks downtown, and I've seen a lot of the business go in and out. I've seen different kinds of people, different ages, different genders, different races, and it's very interesting to me to see the flow of people. And I believe my experiences at Starbucks, working down there, seeing the different kinds of people, having conversations about what people enjoy, seeing the different events that you guys have put on. I think just being down there a lot has been able to get me a better grasp of working with the downtown committee.
Thank you.
Betsy, would you mind introducing yourself and then?
Yes, I'm Betsy Patterson, and I'm a board member emeritus and former mayor of the town. My question to you is, why are you interested in being the student representative on the board?
I'm very interested with being the student representative on the board because I believe I come from a wide range of different backgrounds. I've lived across the country. I have a lot of different friends. I'm Hispanic. I speak Spanish, and just having different kinds of viewpoints from different friends, people who have graduated. My whole family went here. Different viewpoints with everything that has happened and the development of UConn. I believe that I would be very good on that board.
Thank you.
Sean.
Hi, Elliot. My name's Sean Vasington. I work at UConn, and I serve as the University Landscape Architect in the Office of Planning, Design, and Construction. Welcome. My question is, how would you get your fellow students interested in the downtown through participation, advocacy, etc.?
This is a question that I get a lot because I am also in the nonprofit Camp Kesem at UConn. And this was one of the big questions. How are we going to spread the word? How are we going to get all these events? And it's social media. Social media is a huge thing. I'm on it. I'm on all the different social media platforms. And I do have a pretty large following. So social media is one of the major things. We also have the daily digest of UConn. We can also put events in that daily digest. I have also, in the nonprofit I work at, I do fundraisers as well, and that helps spread the word. People who I don't even know have come up to me and they're like, tell me about your nonprofit that you're doing. I would like to join it too. That social media aspect is a big part that goes along with emails, Instagram, anything.
Frank, if I could ask a follow-up with that. You mentioned Instagram, Elliot. Are there other platforms or social media platforms that you're using?
Yes, I also use Facebook to share a lot of these things because a lot of people my age don't really use Facebook, but a little bit older, like like my dad uses Facebook, and try to get that age group as well to come to these things. That helps a lot. LinkedIn is something I'm very much on as well. There's Snapchat, so many more that like I'm on a lot of social media.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve,
Hi, Elliot. I'm Steve Bacon. Like Betsy and Diana, I'm an emeritus board member. You just mentioned before that you work at Starbucks. Sounds like you have a pretty busy schedule between class and work. We would like to know what your availability is to serve on the board. We meet on Thursday afternoon, once a month, from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Typically, it's a 90-minute meeting for the board. Do you know your class schedule for the upcoming year? Between your class schedule and your work schedule, would you be able to make meetings on Thursdays, the fourth Thursday of the month, between 4:30 and 6?
Yes. I just checked my schedule right now. I would be able to. And also with my job, I'm able to request that time off. And I'm also going to be an RA, and I'll request that time off as well with that. With the nonprofit at Camp Kesem, that's on Sundays, so that would perfectly fit in my schedule.
And will you be spending the summer in town?
I will not. I will be in Colorado completing an internship with the CDC, so I will not be here between from June to August. I will be in Colorado.
And how about during breaks? Whether they're January, Christmas, or in the spring? Are you around then?
With those, I will be staying for not the entire time, but I will be here more extended than the average student will be, because I'll have to do my checkouts with my residents and everything. So I will be most likely an extra week in December and come back an extra week in January. So I will be here a little bit longer than the average student would be, but I will still have, I'll be gone for like some of the winter break.
Okay. Thank you, Elliot.
Thank you.
thank you. Prabhas,
Hello again, Elliot. I'm Pravas. We met last week. I'm the outgoing student rep, so the position you would be filling. Kind of our last question for you today, kind of builds off of Steve's question and your answer. It seems like you are very busy and doing a lot of different things, which is good. Just curious how you go about managing your time, your schedule, your day-to-day things, making sure that you get all the things done that you need to get done.
Especially with my schedule, this has been something I've been doing since freshman year of high school, doing everything at once. And it seems to be crazy, like from an outside perspective, but I have found the perfect way to manage my time, get 8 hours of sleep. The way I schedule my classes forms the way when I eat, when I go to work, when I do activities. And if I have the extra time to do something that will help the town of Mansfield or anything or people, I would love to fit that in my schedule. And I know that the once a month, or yeah, as you said, there are some committees that I can join. That little commitment is not going to be much. And I think I would be able to do it.
Thank you.
great. I'm going to ask Cynthia to describe sort of the next steps here, but do want to thank you, Elliot, for jumping on this call and sharing not only your interest in the partnership, but also your experiences. Sounds like you've been very much interested in marketing and working in nonprofits. So thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry about being late. I just ran home from a class.
It's understandable.
Hi, Elliot. Yes, so the next steps would be within probably the next week or so. The committee would make a decision or a recommendation, I'm sorry, to our full board. As far as the new student rep, we do have our annual meeting on June 1st. So at that point, there would be a decision by our board, and then we move on from there. And at that point, the student would be part of the board.
Right.
Do you have any questions on process or?
No, I didn't.
We left you 1 minute for questions of us. That's the way to do it. But do want to say again, thank you for coming. There's a large pool of candidates, so we're glad that you're a part of it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elliot.
We do have Colby in the queue for 4:35.
4:35 gives, if, I'll let you guys take a little notes about Elliot, that it goes so fast, but thank you. I think actually the questions were good, and it was, they were helpful responses too. Any,
While we're
any suggestions for improvement of the process for when we talk with Colby? Okay. Steve?
I'll ask Colby about the first Thursday of the month rather than the fourth Thursday of the month.
That'll shave off a few seconds.
No, he's going back to, wasn't it, did it used to be the 4th, Steve? Or did it? I don't know. We met on a different day of the week. I do remember that. I think it was Tuesday.
So when I ask about characteristics, skills, and experiences, and he kind of more went his experiences, which maybe was because the last thing I said. Do you want me to follow up and say, what about characteristics and skills, or just leave it at what they answer?
Diana, I don't know if other people are having this trouble, but when you speak, it's very soft. Do you know where your microphone is?
Yeah.
Are other people, are you nodding your head? That seems
Yes.
to be, you're having that problem too. Yeah, it's just with Diana. Do you
Made
know
it-
where
ma-
your,
Maybe need to turn up the volume.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that from your microphone though.
Right.
It's
I
how
can.
it's receiving it. Yeah,
Because I'm hearing you fine,
yeah.
but you're not hearing me.
No.
It's very faint. It's hard to hear you.
Okay, I'll check all my settings.
Well, because I couldn't, even when you were asking, you're making a statement right now, I could only pick up a couple of words that you were saying. And
Is this
Prabhas, that was good that you, the new time check is through the chat room. I thought that was, of course. That was great. Thank you.
Is this any better? No, I changed microphones.
Huh.
Try singing a tune.
I can do the ABC song really well.
You just might have to speak louder, Diana, I guess.
Yeah,
We can hear you, or I can, but
you
Can
can.
you hear okay? Cynthia? Can you hear?
yeah, I can hear her actually. It's not too bad. It is soft, but I can hear her. I can hear
All right.
Diana.
Well, that's weird. But should somebody, because it is an important question. I hate to, Frank, do you want to do it so they hear the whole thing?
Sure, I can lead off, but let's make sure we introduce you at the end. You know, I don't want to, so you're going to take question number 4
But at
Okay.
the end,
at the end.
if
Okay,
we get there.
if it after Prabhas, right?
Okay.
I'll still call on you when the time is right, but I think that's a good compromise there to get us off to a good start.
Yeah, because I wouldn't, and it's an important question, so.
Okay. All right, why don't we, if everybody's all right, let's add Colby in, Cynthia.
Will do.
Hi, Colby. Oh. Can you?
I can hear you
There-
not coming through my headphones, which is bizarre. Can you hear me and see me okay?
we can hear you.
Okay. So I will just take those out then and not use them.
Okay, are you in a place where you can have a public conversation?
I am. You will have to forgive me. I'm on campus currently, but if that's not an issue with you guys, then I'm in a place where I can talk freely.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, welcome. This is the governance committee of the Mansfield Downtown Partnership. And so we're board members. There's representatives from the university, the town, and elected by membership. And the governance committee is responsible for bringing a recommendation to the full board for the student representative for which you are interviewing for. And thank you very much for your submission of the application and your resume. That was very helpful. I'm going to just start it off with the first question, and then we'll go around to the other members of the group with questions. All right. Yeah, we have about 15 minutes to work with. Maybe if you could just start off by saying, describing the characteristics and skills and experiences that you would contribute to the board.
Yeah, so first and foremost, hello everyone. My name is Colby Tremblay. I'm a current junior who's wrapping up his final week of classes on campus at the university. So hard to believe that I'll be a senior in the fall. My major is elementary education with a minor in American Sign Language with a focus on interpreting and also English. So I feel that around I have a lot of bases covered, and I've really tried to use my opportunities here at the university to get in as much as I can. Specifically, skills is, like I said, I'm an elementary education major. I think the teacher in me have great qualities, organization, creativity, leadership being some of those top ones. You know, in the classroom, we have to be organized, we have to have a plan, but we also have to be able to be creative enough to stray from that plan when we need to. We all know that not always go according to what we envision they would in the dream world. So we have to be able to step away from that and say, okay, this is what I'm working with. How can I manage with what we're working with? Creativity. I'm a theater kid. That's my background. So I loved that. One of the big words that I kept seeing in your guys' website was community. And community is such an important thing to me. When my community theater where I grew up there, building community one performance at a time, and to see that your organization is all about building community really drew me to it as well. And leadership at the university, I have served on multiple executive boards. One being for the American Sign Language Club. I was the director of the learning community here. And then for the Teacher Education Student Association, this last semester, I served as secretary, and next semester I'll be moving into the role of president. So I feel like I have leadership qualities, which on a board of directors needed to say, here's events to do, or here's growth and development that we're looking for. I think a leader is a quality that we're looking for in a board member. At least I would be if I was in your shoes.
Thank you, Colby. That's great. Betsy.
Hi, Colby. I'm Betsy Patterson. I'm board emeritus, former mayor of Mansfield. And also I've been involved with this partnership since the beginning, since it was first talked about. My question to you is, why are you interested in being the student representative on this board?
Hi, Betsy. Good afternoon. That's a really great question. I say that people always ask me when I say I go to UConn, they say, isn't it in the middle of nowhere? Isn't it just cow country? And I say, no, we actually have our own little city right up there on campus. And that's downtown Stores. That is Mansfield. And I've been so lucky that downtown Stores has been so formative in my college experience. Although we went through a pandemic year my sophomore year, I did live right off campus in Willimantic. So I was using the facilities that downtown Stores offered frequently and regularly. And it really has been an enjoyable experience for me to have that opportunity. So when I saw that this might be an opportunity where I could give back, not only to my fellow college students, but also to the community. You know, we have families who are living in Mansfield who are raising kids. You know, here at NEAG, we have a lot of teachers who go into the Mansfield school systems. I myself was a Mansfield middle school tutor my freshman year. So to give back to the community that welcomes us in as college students, as crazy and rambunctious as sometimes we are, to be able to give back and have that opportunity to really just honor the place that has been so formative for me in my first 3 years. And I hope to continue to explore my senior year is what really drew me to apply for the position.
Thank you. And when you lived, one quick follow-up, when you lived in Wellington, I mean, you lived in Wellington for how long?
So I was in Willimantic for a year, my sophomore year, and then currently I'm living in Wellington and will be living there next year. So
Okay.
I'm not right on campus. I do feel that I'm close enough. And as a commuter per se, I think I offer another unique experience to say, how can we bring people to Mansfield and further that for those students who are living off campus, but for people who, are in the area, but might not be directly at Mansfield.
Yeah, I just wondered if you had grown up in Wellington, but actually you're currently living in Wellington.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. I'm from Southern Connecticut. I'm from Ansonia, so right by New Haven.
Thank you.
Sean.
Thanks, Frank. Hi, Colby. I'm Sean Vasington. I'm the University Landscape Architect at UConn and also live here in town. My question for you is, how would you get your fellow students interested in the downtown through participation, advocacy, et cetera? And I think you've touched on this a little bit already.
Yeah, so what was actually interesting to me is prior to seeing the application, I didn't really know about this organization, which was kind of surprising to me as a UConn student. I did a lot in downtown Mansfield and I've seen your work, but I didn't really know that it was through this organization. So something for me specifically would be getting that word out to students. We have a lot of information that goes out in our daily emails, and to be able to advertise those events within that would be my starting point. Beyond that, I myself am involved in a lot of clubs, and having served now on leadership positions of clubs, I'm connected with other leaders of different clubs. So if we're doing an event that might tailor to a specific group, getting them involved in any way we can. Some things that I've loved that I've seen already on your event list are, such as the Poetry Month. I'm as I said, an education major. So just events like that. We have lots of clubs on UConn that are involved with education, advocacy, literacy. So to really target those groups and specific and say, hey, this might be an event that you might be interested in. As college students, we have a lot on our plates. So if we can try to say, here's a specific group that we're trying to target, and then how can we get into those groups at the university? Whether it be clubs or I may have mentioned I was my freshman and sophomore year a member of the Connecting with the Arts Living Learning community. So those are communities at UConn where groups of students who have similar philosophies and thoughts live together. So there's plenty of those that cover all different areas. So for example, if there's an event that might be great for one of those, to really target those specific groups. To try to get them into downtown Mansfield. And then just in general, to advertise this organization more, to say, hey, you all go down to downtown stores. Do you know who's kind of doing the work behind what you're experiencing?
Right, thank you. Steve?
Hi, Colby. I'm a emeritus board member, as well as Betsy and Diana. We have found that our student representative on the board is typically one of the busiest students on campus. Sounds like you would fit that bill. But we do need to have a student representative who is available to attend our board meetings as well as committee meetings. And we need to know if your schedule is going to permit you to attend those meetings. Our board meets on the first Thursday of the month from 4:30 to 6 o'clock. Typically, the board meetings run about 90 minutes, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more. Can you tell us right now if you know your schedule in the future and whether or not you'd be able to be available at that time to attend board meetings?
Certainly. So the joy with elementary education is by our senior year, we're kind of jumping into that student teaching. And luckily I am that elementary ed. So I have the luxury of a school day schedule, which means I'm kind of morning loaded, which is great for a board meeting that's in the afternoon and into the evening. So for me, a lot of my work even beginning in the fall, will be taking place in those mornings. On Thursdays, I'll have one class in the fall that's over by noons. So in the fall, I'll certainly have no issue. And then likewise in the spring, as I'm doing my student teaching, it will depend right around the specific school that I'm in, but most schools are over right around 3:30 or 4 is when teachers are dismissed. So that would be plenty of time to get back and be available for a board meeting. And if the committee meetings are at similar times, it would be a similar schedule for those other days of the week. And luckily, if I had that day of first Thursday, I would make sure that it's penciled off on my calendar and saved and reserved.
Sounds good. Committee meetings typically also run about the same time in the afternoon. How about your availability either during the summer or during breaks, either the December, January break or the spring break? Are you usually on campus or in the area?
Yeah, so I'm a Connecticut resident, so I'm always less than an hour away, which is really great. An hour and 10, depending on traffic. So, but like I said, I'm living off campus in Willington, and will continue to live there at least through the next year, if not longer. So I'm definitely here. Just one thing with elementary ed is in the spring, we do follow our school's calendar. So I might not necessarily share the same as UConn spring break, but I will have a spring break when my students are off, which I'll be in the area for during those breaks as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhas?
Hey Colby, it's nice to meet you. I'm Prabhas. I am the outgoing student rep, so be filling my position. So it sounds like you are from my pack of very busy students. I would love to know a little bit more about how you manage your day-to-day schedule and your time.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a go kind of person. I say that we pay enough for college. I might as well get the full thing out of it. So I've tried to the best of my ability, really take advantage of all of the opportunities that have been afforded to us. There are so many things that happen on a college campus and in the area that people just don't often know about. So for me, I've really tried to go out of my way to find out those things. As I mentioned earlier, one of my main traits is organization. I'm a planner. Almost to a fault. I even end up planning if I'm going out with friends, I usually have a plan for, okay, here's what we're doing, here's when we get there, here's when we're leaving. But that has allowed me to really fill my schedule in and make sure that I'm not overwhelmed. I think it's also really vital, especially as a college student, that we're taking times for ourselves and really focusing on self-care and mental health and well-being, especially nowadays. That's a really growing topic, and we see it in our schools as educators too. So like I said, I have a plan. I'm the type of person who, as soon as he gets home from class, is getting started on homework. I don't like waiting to the last minute. Of course, every once in a while, those procrastination tendencies kick in, but as much as I can, I try to really get a head start on things. And then I pencil out my time, and that includes penciling out time to take to myself, whether it's, okay, I'm taking this 2 hours to watch a movie or this 3 hours to hang out with friends. For me, it helps to have it on that schedule so that I'm not double booking. If you all saw my notes app on my phone, you would see that I have like the entire year where I'm just constantly loading events into, so that if anyone says, oh, hey, are you around on this day, I can check back to it. So in order to manage time, organization is one of those key things, and then getting the head start as best I can. I'm the kid who takes the syllabus on the first day and writes in all of the assignments through the end of the semester, because that's just how it helps me work.
Thank you.
Colby, we have about a minute left, and I did want to introduce Diana as our other board member. Want to say hi, Diana?
Hi, Colby. I am in at Southeast Elementary School as a kindergarten paraeducator, so I appreciate the education part.
Nice to meet you as well, Diana.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm going to also introduce Cynthia Van Zelm, who, as you know, is the executive director. Cynthia, can you provide us a summary of what the next steps are?
Sure. Hi, Colby. So our process is, hopefully the governance committee will have a recommendation by the end of this week. And then our board of directors, our full board of directors will make the appointment of a student rep by our June 1st or at our June 1st annual meeting.
Okay. We have just under a minute, but if you have any questions, Colby, please feel free to either now or send them to Cynthia. It'd be fine too.
Perfect. I mean, I think I'm pretty good. One of my questions that I always like to ask is just what's your favorite part about what you do? But since we have so many of us, I don't know if one person maybe wants to share about what your favorite thing is that of your role here that you like to do.
I might ask Prabhas. Can you answer that?
Yeah, I think I'll go quick. I think the student rep role it's really wonderful, and there's a lot of things to enjoy about this position. One, you're going to have a lot of ability to interact with the different stakeholders, not only on this board but throughout the town and throughout UConn. So it'll kind of open your eyes to a lot of different great people that work in the background, like you mentioned. And then the other great thing, I think there's a lot of opportunity to volunteer at the events we host, but also bring your personal ideas to life. So the things that you might be seeing that maybe we're not seeing on the board, or we may be overlooking, you have a voice on the board. And I've been able to bring some things to life because the board does value the student's voice. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Certainly. Thank you. And thank you all for taking the time to meet with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us, Colby.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Prabhas. You handled that very well. But yeah, you've made a lot out of this position, and I think all of our expectations are very high. And I want to make sure that the candidates understand that too. We're expecting a lot of them, and whether it's Steve's question about commitment of time, and we expect people to be attending meetings, but I think we all have an expectation that they're going to help us with some of our marketing and connecting with others. And actually, I've been very pleased with the interviews that we've done so far. Betsy?
I just want to say that we've all been spoiled, and Prabhas is going to be a very hard act to follow. And obviously, we're going to hold everybody up to the high standard you've set, Prabhas. And I just
Thank
want you to
I
know
appreciate it.
how much you have contributed to this board and how much we appreciate it.
Thank you, Betsy.
It's yeah, it changed our expectations. Maybe sometimes it's good to have representatives of different communities, in this case, the student community, but you raised it to a new level. So we have to make sure that we're keeping that standard, right? And pushing the students as the governance committee is part of our role too, is to make sure there's satisfaction of our board members, but also involvement, engagement, pushing them so that they can experience what you experienced, right? You made something out of this role by getting involved and getting others involved. And you get out of it what you put into it.
Definitely. Thank you. It's surreal to be on this side of the interview table.
Well, you guys are pretty efficient, Diana. I'm still having trouble hearing. I could make out and what you were saying, so it was okay. It was just faint, but it was good. I'm glad that we were able to at least get the introduction in.
Yeah, probably better for me to stay at the end if that's the case.
Okay. We have a few minutes here. Cynthia, do you remember our conversation at the before break about the other candidates and what we should? I think we tried to get a selection of candidates that had generally the most favorable ratings by those who had reviewed the applications. But it was hard to choose because there were some other ones that were in there that were very good too. And I think it was partly by scheduling too. There was one candidate that just couldn't make today. So we filled it with another candidate just so that we would use this time efficiently. So I guess the question is, do we, at the end of after this next interview, do we say, hey, we found our the one that we want to advance, or do we want to interview a couple more or try to interview a couple more students? Cynthia, what am I forgetting?
Yeah, no, that's it, Frank. It really was scheduling. So I'm just looking back at the two other candidates. And both of them could do Wednesday, one after 3:30 and one after 2:30 if we wanted to do that. I know this is the last week of classes, right, Prabhas? So now this was what they told me on one on April 15th and one on April 13th. So the 15th I got after I left. So there are two that, you know, I think would be interested if we wanted to pursue it. It's just going to be a matter of scheduling with your schedules and my schedule.
And I think it's important that we have 100% of participation of this group, or else it sort of disqualifies you if you can't make it. So I'd want to make sure that we could all make it. Now, the other thing is when we were doing them in person, there was a real push to make sure that we were doing them at this time before they all broke and left campus. But since we're doing them virtually like this, I think it provides some flexibility if we need to, wait a week or two for scheduling purposes. I think we have that option. Anyway, I put it out there. We don't have to make a decision now. Let's interview. Is it Prithvi? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Prithvi? Satish is our 5 o'clock candidate.
Yeah,
If we
I don't know if the pronunciation's correct or not,
Okay.
but that sounds right. Yeah.
So we'll again do 15 minutes if this is a little bit longer than our normal meetings, but so I appreciate your all participating. Maybe at the end of that interview, we can revisit this discussion about how we want to handle any other candidates.
Yeah, and as Frank and I discussed, agenda item 5 is time sensitive.
I don't think we have a chance to do it before our 5 o'clock. It's with the.
No, I think yeah.
We'll quickly jump into executive session and following that, but to discuss the upcoming board meeting. But we can do. I'm hoping that 5:25, 5:30 at the latest, we're out. Timing wise. When Colby was on, I was trying to place what building he was calling from. I wasn't sure. Sean, did you, or Prabhas, you guys are familiar, did you recognize where he was? My guess is that it was the south side of Gentry building. That's where, and this near the stairwell. It's like a little puzzle to see where people are commuting. I remember Prabhas, one time you were in the student union.
There were two back-to-back months where I was in campus and I switched location, and you were asking me where the second one was. I remember that a couple of months ago.
I had an event over at the Mattituck Museum in Waterbury on Saturday, and they actually had a phone booth in the museum set up because people don't know what phone booths are. And I'm thinking they should have like Zoom call rooms, right? Where you go in and you need your privacy when you're on a Zoom call. Might be the new thing.
So I do have Prithvi in the waiting room.
Great.
Whenever you're
Well,
ready,
so-
Frank.
Sure, send them in.
All right.
Hi, Prithvi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Prithvi?
I didn't hear it actually. If you didn't mind repeating that again, that'd be great.
Prithvi?
Yep.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. Welcome. This is the governance committee of the Mansfield Downtown Partnership Board. And so we're all board members representing some are appointed by the university, some by the town, some are elected by membership. We're interviewing for the position, which is recommended by this governance committee. So thank you for your application and submitting that in and joining us today for a quick interview. It's just 15 minutes, so we're going to go pretty quick around the Zoom boxes here with some
That
questions.
sounds good. Yeah.
Prithvi, I don't know if it's you, we're getting a lot of feedback. Hi, this is Cynthia in the background. I don't know if that's coming from you or.
I think that might be coming from me. I've been trying to find a place to kind of, I think it's pretty busy. Everyone's pretty busy today. Everything's kind of busy. So maybe I can move somewhere else, maybe possibly. What's the feedback or?
It's up to you. It sounds a little better now. Sorry, I
Okay.
felt like I could hear TV or something, so it's just.
All right. Okay.
Let's see if we can get it going. Let me start and then we'll go around. What characteristics or skills or experiences would you contribute to the board?
I feel like me personally, as an individual, I feel like I always want to improve in every aspect of my life. I would just say that, like, I believe that whether it's continually developing what is Mansfield downtown, or just me learning certain skills, I feel like me being open to change, open to learning things, can help this community as well and me as well too, just in my development.
Excellent. Betsy?
Yes. I'm Betsy Patterson, and I'm a board
Hi.
emeritus member and former mayor of the town. And I've been involved with the partnership since the very beginning of the planning of it.
That's pretty cool.
So obviously I'm not a teenager. Anyway, why are you interested in being the student representative on the board,
I believe
on this
that,
board?
gotcha. I believe that me being a student representative could definitely help get certain things across to the board that students possibly want in our school, in our Mansfield downtown, because I feel like it's a vital component of what is stores downtown, whether it's the restaurants, whether it's CVS or any of that. We definitely need those amenities to keep us going as college students, and I feel like I would be a great liaison between that, because I feel like I would be able to listen to everyone's opinion and kind of make a good consensus on it, instead of just looking at it from one's perspective, whether it's from your perspective or student's perspective.
Thank you.
Sean?
Good afternoon, Prithvi. My name's Sean Vasington. I'm one of the Yukon representatives on the board. I'm also a town of Mansfield resident. Now, our question is, how would you get your fellow students interested in the downtown through participation, advocacy, and other means?
Sure. So definitely, I feel like, yeah, we do have a decent amount of events, but definitely I feel like we can probably up that. I'm pretty sure because of COVID, a lot of events that were supposed to happen were kind of impacted, I would assume. And I feel like I would want to bring whatever we had back in 2019, whether it's cultural events or drives, etc. I would want to bring that more into this year, essentially. And I would want to get more of the students' word out, essentially, what they want.
Right.
Thank you.
Steve?
Hi, Prithvi. This is Steve Bacon. I'm a emeritus board member, and my question for you relates to availability. The applicants for the student representative on the board typically are some of the busiest students on campus, but they manage to find the time to attend board meetings and often also serve on a committee. So my question is, do you know your schedule going forward, and whether or not our board meeting time is something that you can accommodate in your schedule? The board meets on the first Thursday of the month. Typically, it's a 90-minute meeting from about 4:30 to 6 p.m. And the committees also meet typically in the later afternoon. Can you tell us if your schedule would permit you to be available for both board and committee meetings?
Sure. I think looking at my schedule right now, I was able to kind of create a schedule where I'd have decent gaps, decent areas where I'd be able to accommodate certain things, because I work as well with student activities business services. And I worked it out with my supervisor at student activities business services. And majority of my working times are on Friday. And I think I'd be able to put my focus onto this definitely without any interruptions.
Along those same lines, will you be available during the summer? Are you going to be either on campus or in the area during the summer?
This summer,
Yes.
I will be in Stanford actually interning this summer.
Okay. And next year during breaks, either December, January, or the spring break?
Yes, I will be there for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Prabhas.
Hello, I am the current and outgoing student rep, and kind of building off what Steve asked you about your schedule. I'm just curious a little bit, and you mentioned working for student activities. So I'm curious how you manage your time as a student and as an employee, and how you would plan to manage your time if you join the board.
Definitely. So as a student, as a worker, as whatever I have in terms of my extracurriculars, I definitely like to plan out all my things, whether it's a calendar or anything. I definitely feel like my personality is driven towards doing a lot of things, because I want to learn every single aspect of whatever it is, whether it's being a student board executive for this nonprofit, or just working as a financial analyst at Student Activities Business Services. I feel like I would be able to juggle whatever you guys would throw at me, honestly.
Great, thank you. And I want to introduce Diana, and Diana's had some trouble with her audio, but if Diana, why don't you try to ask your question too and see if we can get it set up.
Great. Hi, Prithvi. Hopefully you can hear me.
I can.
I'm Diana Peltier. I'm an emeritus board member. I also live in town, and I work at one of the local elementary schools in a kindergarten classroom. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So we require all board members to serve on at least one committee or working group. So we're kind of wondering, what in particular is your interest in the downtown? Would it be planning, finance, marketing, business development, etc.?
Definitely, I would want to look more into the financial area, because I feel like I do have a background in that, whether it's me taking accounting classes or management classes, and me working for Student Activities Business Services. I feel like I have a strong enough base in terms of that. My second choice, I would definitely say, is business development. Anything that I would definitely want to be in the process of just bringing businesses back to stores or setting up new ones, definitely.
Terrific, thank you. Cynthia, can you provide some background on what next steps are in the process?
Sure. So Prithvi, the goal, I think, for the committee is to make a recommendation to the full board by the end of this week. And then the full board appoints the next student rep our annual meeting is June 1st, so it's usually at a meeting following the annual meeting that day. So those are our next steps.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Did you have any questions for us as a wrap up? Christine, do you have any questions for us as a group?
Maybe just a general question. Just how do you guys feel about just working as a board? What are some key things I should know if I were chosen for this position?
I'll open that up for the group here. Did everyone hear that question?
Yes, so, you know, I'll start as the student rep, give you a little bit of insight as to the position you could potentially fill. I think it's a great board. You'll get to meet a lot of different people throughout the town. You're getting a glimpse of that right now, and you get to meet people throughout the university, and people that are very involved and care about the downtown area. And I think that area does play a big role in our UConn career and experience. You'll get a lot of opportunity to volunteer, and you'll have a lot of ability to bring forth your own initiatives. So I know you're an accounting student, and you mentioned the interest in the financial side, and you know there's definitely opportunity for you on the board to not only explore that interest but also kind of shape up your own ideas in that space. So I'll defer to anyone else, but those are my thoughts as a student.
Betsy.
Yes, I would say to you that one of the things we want is a very diverse board, because we live in a diverse community. We have people who have no connection with the university. We have lots of university professors and people who work there. We have students. And one of the things that's important to us is that we reach out to every one of those groups to let them know what is happening in the downtown, to find out from them what they would like to see in the downtown that would improve their experience in the downtown. That's why it's so important to us that we have a very involved student representative from UConn, because obviously a lot of students go into the downtown.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Prithvi. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you. Too. All right. Cynthia, did you want to go into executive session immediately, just to make sure we get a?
We can do that. So I think we'll go into executive session for this item and the next two items. The committee will have to come out of executive session with a recommendation in full session for both the student rep, if there is a recommendation, and also for the new board members that would be up for election.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to make a motion, that would be great.
Need a motion. Betsy.
I move that we go into executive session.
Second by Boss. All in favor? We're ready. Coming back out of the executive session, let me just summarize what the conclusion, what we concluded as a committee. We interviewed 3 candidates for the student position. We have 2 additional candidates that the committee wishes to interview virtually, and we're looking at a date within a week to interview those 2, and at that time we'll put forward the committee's recommendation for a student rep and the additional representatives, 2 other board positions that will advance for the annual meeting agenda. Did I miss anything? No. That concludes that portion of the agenda. Cynthia, if you could add an email, or if there's a summary about the preparations for the annual meeting, that would be helpful. And then update on strategic plan implementation process. There really hasn't been much progress since our last meeting. So maybe we'll pass strike on that agenda item. And if you're all ready, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Betsy.
Move to adjourn.
Second
Steve
that.
is our second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for this extended period. It was a very productive meeting. And grateful for
Cynthia,
all
let's
of you.
have lunch.
We will, we will.
Okay.
Sounds
I
good.
gotta
Thanks
catch
for all
up.
your time.
I know.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone. Good luck setting up that meeting.